Hello, everybody. My name is Remco. I'm a fintech expert and influencer, and I focus on demonstrating fintech's positive impact on people's daily financial life. So, thank you very much for having. Well, driving successful innovation from financial in the financial industry is a complex challenge, especially given the regulatory maze that startups and fintechs have to traverse and all of the challenges on its way. I really believe that positive change can only be driven by working together, by high collaboration between fintechs and regulators and banks. And some countries do that a little bit more efficiently than others. So if we look at, for example, the European landscape, and I will give a good example. One of my favorite countries is Lithuania, which is well known for fostering fintech innovation and a really electric startup environment. It's a small city, the capital of Vilnius, but what really sets it apart is that the regulator and the central bank are on a really close proximity to the start. So basically, what I really believe in is that when it comes to creating content, you have to be original. So as a fintech influencer, I approach content creation by focusing on genuine, authentic insights. I believe in the power of real life use cases and trends to educate and inspire the industry. And what drives my passion for sharing these insights is the opportunity to demystify the complex financial concepts and promote transparency and help individual businesses to make informed decisions. Authenticity is key in an industry as dynamic as the fintech industry, where trust is paramount, and trust is your currency in fintech. And I really believe that brands and fintech companies should be up there being personal, right? So when it comes to content, you shouldn't be pushing out the same stuff as everybody else. I mean, most companies and people are aware of the major trends in the industry. So what really comes to mind is, for example, like how is your solution or how is your bank or your fintech platform really impacting people's daily financial lives? So you can go on the street, for example, and talk to a random person about some sort of fintech application that they're already using and just making them aware of some how it works or asking them directly how it actually influences their lives or even businesses that just go to a shop and ask them about how current solutions are affecting their business. And, these are just simple examples. Or you could even think about going in a totally different direction when it comes to content, being really personal. For example, I like to talk about some challenges, that simple case, right? For example, if you take, for example, Revolut, Revolut's journey has been absolutely amazing. I mean, if you compare that to the Indian market, where e-money institutions and payment institutions and also neobanks are currently really flourishing, but also in terms of the amount of users, that's really um, that's a really good one. I would definitely say that for early stage fintech startups right now, what is really important is to have a very strong, unique selling point from the start, right? Because right now, the fintech space, like I mentioned in my previous point, it's really focused on improving existing services instead of disrupting them. But then again, it depends on your region. I'm talking from the European perspective. In Europe, the market is more or less satisfied. We all have access to digital banking needs. Most people have access to banking services. Whereas if you look at India, you look at South America, or you look at Africa, for example, where a lot of people have no access to basic banking services. Banking the underbanked is a major trend that fintech companies can really play on right now. And if you look at the Middle East, where we see that digital banking services or even large banks launching their own greenfield neobank, that's kind of the trend right now. And really looking at that banking on the bank, I think that has massive potential in some regions in the world. So that's one thing. And then again, being authentic and really, having a strong, solving a really hard pain point is really important. And then secondly, I would say that being compliant from day one is very important, relating back to trust. Financial services is all about trust. So if a company is not credible, there's no trust from the start, then I think that's already a really big red flag. And then the third advice I would give is try to not approach banks from the point of view that you want to sell them a solution. Try to focus on active partnerships. Um, And what by that I mean, if you can get early validation as a fintech company by working with a large bank that has the credibility that you can use as a launch pad to further establish more trust and potentially build up, let's say, more traction, I think that makes sense. So to a lot of fintech companies, I say approach the banks from a point of view that you will use their established credibility, their established frameworks, and technological environments, or even good question. I think I've already mentioned a few in my previous topic, yeah, the banking, the underbanked, and definitely what I also believe is that in the last couple of years, when we talk about emerging trends, right, uh, one major field that is severely still overlooked, even in Europe, is financial innovation for small, medium business or business owners. I mean, if I talk to a banker, and even emerging from some of my panel discussions with some of the larger banks in Europe, if I ask the question to a banker, when is the last time you actually sat down with a customer? The question or the answer usually is no, which is quite surprising, to be honest. And from these panel discussions and industry events, some of the key topics that have dominated the agenda the last couple of years have definitely been around open banking, decentralized finance, and AI-driven personalized financial services and cybersecurity. I was just having a talk with an interesting neobank from the UK called Frost. And what they also told me is that there's so much happening also in the fraud space that we are still not aware of. There's so much fraud happening that is still not detected. Um, and of course, open banking is still a topic, but it has kind of calmed down. So the hype is not that much there anymore. Like in 2018, 19, it was still a big topic, but most banks actually provide their APIs, open banking APIs, publicly right now anyway. And the infrastructure in Europe is getting more satisfied, and people are more or less educated about that at this point. What I would still say is that decentralized finance, of course, is still a large topic, but it's already getting adopted, more or less on a natural way. And one of these topics that I still see being talked about a lot is this personalized banking. I mean, I used to work in personalized PFM and CX, customer experience myself, and still a lot of companies just don't know how to do it. So it's still a topic, right? How do we really personalize interactions with our customers? What kind of personal security is paramount in fintech, actually. So, I mean, if we look right now at the amount of frauds that are still happening, even with large neobanks being targeted, and that is actually pretty insane. I mean, the amount of losses in terms of euros, when it comes to cybersecurity, is it's so high that I don't know the exact number. AI presents a very transformative potential for the financial industry. I mean, it can harness customer experience through predictive analytics, automate decision-making processes, and improve risk assessments. However, ethical considerations and risk management are critical. Ensuring that Gen AI responsibly and in compliance with regulations is absolutely paramount. I mean, transparency, explainability, and bias mitigation are essential to harness its full potential. I mean, coming from my point of view, Gen AI also already in customer experience has massive potential. I mean, I recently last week had a discussion with a leading business communication platform called Infobip around the power of conversational AI in customer experience, specifically focusing on banking. And if you look at currently existing chatbots in the financial services industry, they are usually really lacking behind. Okay, they promise a lot of interesting stuff, right? So 24/7 availability, immediately response, immediately, they respond immediately. There's no waiting lines, there are massive cost savings for banks. But when it comes down to, let's say you face a complex financial situation, for example, tomorrow, something happens and you really want to talk to a human, these chatbots can, or these AIs can really become a threat to you. They can kind of get you stuck in what I call the chatbot doom loop, right? So you go to your customer service from your bank, you want to talk to a person, but you keep getting stuck with the chatbot while you really want to talk to a human being. And this is really where we need to find the harmony between Gen AI and human interaction in banking, because at the end of the day, we do like to talk to real people when we face situations that require the human touch to really solve. So Gen AI is really great in terms of, let's say, checking your balance and keeping you updated about upcoming expenses, or alerting you when something happens in your account. But when it comes, I have many advice to give, so I will try to keep it short. To really excel in the fintech industry, I think aspiring professionals should focus on a blend of technical and business skills. I mean, mastering financial technology and staying updated with industry trends is absolutely essential. Additionally, soft skills and communication skills are absolutely essential as well as problem solving. I mean, what I would really do right now as an aspiring professional is to be on top of my game, to really know what's happening in the industry, so that you know what you're talking about, to also make it more personal. So not just harnessing this information that is on the internet, but to make it your own material as well. That would be my absolute best advice. I mean, communication skills, yeah, definitely. If you know how to talk about the topic, but really from your point of view, and from your own words. So by that I mean not just grabbing some stuff from the internet and talking the same language as everybody else, but really make it your own, master it, because that is how people will actually appreciate you at the end of the day. And also really, and again, I've mentioned this so many times in the talk already, the whole regulatory and sort of environment, being up to date about current regulations, that is paramount. If you know what you're talking about and really know how to put it in the right framework, yeah, that's going to set you apart. And then again, also talking about unlighted topics. That goes again to the content creation that we talked about in the beginning. If you can on LinkedIn really put out interesting and original content and really focusing on some areas that other people are not focusing on at the moment, that will actually generate interest in your profile and in your career. And also look at some of the trends. Let's say if you want to start right now, um, in this industry, I mean, there's so many potential startups you can join, that you can be part of, and you can learn not only just one area. And